Hey guys, I'm John Barklow, and today I want to talk to you about a possibles pouch. Now, a possibles pouch is really just a toolbox that you're going to carry into the field and work out of on a day-to-day basis, and also if any emergency arises. Some of you may call this a survival kit, but I don't really like that term. I prefer the term possibles pouch, and really it's just something to reference, this is my toolbox that I work from day to day. If you call it a survival kit or look at it like a survival kit, we tend to want to put it away and never touch it. Whereas a possibles pouch is something we're gonna use when we're out in the field hunting, when we're scouting, when we're training. This possibles pouch, when you assemble it correctly, is going to be able to keep you in the field and keep you effective to hopefully be more successful. A possibles pouch should contain 7 key capabilities. And those capabilities are, in order of your survival priorities, the ability to make a shelter. Right now, I have some 550 cord and I have a space blanket. So what that's gonna allow me to do is maybe use the space blanket to wrap around me on top of my other clothing, or I can put it on the bottom of a survival shelter and put pine boughs over top, or I can use it as an overhead cover and an improvised tarp. And I can use the 550 cord to help me lash things together to, again, make an A-frame or a lean-to. So that's number one. Number two is gonna be water. We wanna be able to procure potable drinking water. If we're stuck, say we have a broken ankle and we've gotten under a tree, pitched the emergency space blanket over top of us, we're wearing our 8-piece clothing system, and we're near a creek, I'm gonna be able to grab water from that creek because I'm not gonna be super mobile. If I don't have a bottle, I can use a Ziploc bag, and I can drop a chlorine dioxide tab in there and have portable drinking water. It's important to stay hydrated, especially if you're injured, so that you keep good blood flow, you keep good circulation, you maybe don't get frostbite if it's a cold environment, etc. Now, you may also have water in your pack, which of course you can use, but if you run out, or if you're out in the field longer than expected, the ability to purify water is going to be really important. The third one is procuring of food. You can go 3 hours without shelter, 3 days without water, and 3 weeks without food. And even though that's going to be uncomfortable, a lot of us have enough body fat stored in ourselves that we're not going to starve to death. It just might not feel good. So really think of food as a target of opportunity. I like to carry either a high energy food bar or some electrolyte chews in my possibles pouch, just in case that situation arises. Maybe we're gonna sit in a cliff band and wait till daylight to work our way down so that we don't make a mistake and trip and maybe injure ourselves. But food is kind of a target of opportunity. So if you're in a blueberry patch, obviously eat blueberries if you know that they're ripe and that they're actually blueberries. And certainly don't walk past an unaware grouse that's just gonna walk by and let you hit it with a rock. But if we're hunting, the killing of the animal is gonna be relatively easy, but you don't wanna kill an animal if you can't eat that animal cooked. So if you can't cook it, then don't kill it and try to eat it, because that could make your situation worse. So this here is a fishing kit. I like to go in training hikes and scouting trips, maybe take some snare wire, maybe take a fishing kit, and go kind of primitive on that 2 or 3 day excursion. See what you can catch on a trout line, see if you can make a pole with a stick and a primitive fishing kit and maybe feed yourself that way. But shelter, water, food are the first 3 survival priorities, and you definitely want your possibles pouch to be capable of doing that. Now, number 4 is fire. So fire is this primitive skill, and we should all understand how to do it. I consider fire a luxury in the backcountry, so it's not something I'm going to default to right away, but we should have the capability of doing that. And so if you have a fixed blade knife that you can baton dry wood or wood to the dry core, you can snap off dead limbs and standing dead wood, and then you have some type of ignition system. So that could be a Bic lighter, it could be a windproof lighter, and then a more primitive system like either a ferro rod or a flint and steel, and then some prefabricated tinder. So something that you know is gonna catch a spark, that you know is gonna light easy, it's gonna burn for a long time with enough heat to ignite that kindling. Now the next one is signaling. Signaling is really important. So I had a friend years ago in the Bitterroot Mountains on a solo elk hunt, and he got bucked off his horse and he ended up breaking ribs, puncturing a lung, and breaking a leg. And so Paul had to crawl out over 3 days back to the trailhead. And in the course of that 3 days and that hell he was enduring, he had a low-flying airplane fly over, and he also had an outfitter with a pack string of horses ride by within several hundred yards of Paul. But because of his injuries, he couldn't whistle or yell out to the outfitter, and with the low-flying aircraft, he couldn't signal that aircraft. So it's really important to be able to signal both day and night to the ground and the air. Now this could be a professional rescue party that you've notified, say via inReach, or it could be your buddies that are out looking for you because you didn't come back from mule deer stalk. And if you're immobile, you can take a blaze orange signal panel and you can put it right above where you are in the tree to help signal them in. You can't always communicate via electronics. And so having these primitive methods to signal, a signal mirror, a whistle, a signal panel, are vitally important to your safety. Now, speaking of safety, the next one is a medical kit. It's really important that we all carry some type of small backcountry medical kit. It's not okay for one person to carry it in a group and not another. Everyone should have a small personalized medical kit. And that medical kit I like to carry in the Possibles pouch, because then it's all together and I don't have to start rooting through my pack and make sure I assemble things when I leave my pack and say go to get water or go on a stalk. So it's important to have a medical kit. And the final capability is to make common repairs to your gear and clothing. This is going to allow you, again, to stay in the field. If you break a trekking pole or a tent pole, if you break a bootlace or put a hole in a ground pad. I have actually been on trips where a guy literally snapped a ski in half and we were able to put that ski back together so that he could get out of the field. But being able to repair your gear in kind of a rudimentary way is going to be really critical to keep your capability up. Now, once you assemble all these things, I like to put them in a fanny pack. And the reason I like to put them in a fanny pack is I can take this fanny pack, I can put it in my pack, and if I am going to leave my pack or I'm going to leave camp with just a light day pack to go up to the glassing knob, whatever the case may be, or I'm going to drop my pack and go after that animal, that I can take this out of my pack, I can strap it around my waist, it's not going to interfere, and I can go on my stalk. And then if I don't come back that night for whatever reason, I have some capability to do all the things I just described. Now, when you're building the Possibles pouch, it's important to understand that what if weighs a lot. Now, if you build this too big and too bulky, it's going to be the first thing you leave behind. You're going to make all kinds of excuses not to take the survival kit. But if you build a Possibles pouch with a reasonable amount of gear, this is my Possibles pouch. It weighs approximately 1.5 pounds. It's in a 2-liter fanny pack. There's really no excuse for me to leave it behind. And again, I take it on hunts, I take it on scouting trips, I take it on training hikes, I take it anywhere I go that I need this capability. Now, if you don't want to just store it in one place, another way to do it is that you can spread the contents out between the fanny pack that you'll grab and also your optics harness. So most of us are going to leave the tent or the trailhead wearing some type of optics harness. So in mine, I like to carry a few chlorine dioxide tabs, some tinder, a flint and steel, and a little signal panel. Then I have that here, and I don't have to necessarily carry it in the Possibles pouch, and so I can spread it out across these two things that I'm always going to have. The most important thing you can do, and the one big mistake that I see, is that people just don't carry this in the field, and then something happens. If you spend enough time in the backcountry, it's not a question of if, but when something happens. And when that happens, you being prepared is what's going to make the difference between maybe you becoming a statistic or having a great tale to tell around the fire. So keep this in mind, build a Possibles pouch, train with it, replenish it after each trip, and make sure that you always carry it in the backcountry.